send it over to packing and you pack it in the bag. So we have 5 different systems that are basically this same thing, running 5 different products at a time. So this is an actual, like, we call this iFix. This is an actual, like, screenshot of our, the system. Like, this is how they control a lot of it. So these are packing lines down here. Each of these bins are packing lines. And then each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are conveyance systems. They're conveying, so they're basically conveying the product from further processing to the packing lines. So like, we can run, so one product will run through this conveyor and it'll get deposited into specific lines. So we can pretty much, in each of these, like, this shows where it could go into any line. These are little slide gates. So we can pretty much send any product to any packing line, depending on, so like this one's green, so basically system 5 is going to packing line 9. The only reason that this looks different is because this is pneumatic conveyed, does the exact same thing, it just blows it over. And these are like screws and slide gates, or screws and what do you call it? But they basically, it's like a big trough and it just pushes it through the trough. So just so you guys understand, so my question is, based on that information and the fact that the product's mixed, can you think of any information that might help us figure out, even start to know how to figure this out of why we have mixed products? Oh, and I'll say this too, like, so we run one product for like, I don't know, maybe 15 hours, and then we'll change over to the new product. And when we change over to the new product, most of how we do the changeover is you change all the equipment and then you flush. So like, you'll flush the new product and you flush the old product out. Does that make sense? So can anybody think of like, what would be good information that you might want to think about? Go ahead.
How would you say start at packing and go backwards from there, just with your propane?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
So I would start where it was propane packed.
Yeah.
And then
What line was it packed on?
what line was it
Yeah.
packed on, and then find out what gauge for what line it would come from.
Yeah.
And then go back to which conveyor it came from.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see like if it's not mixed in conveyor, it must have been not been flushed, or must have been a packing issue, or you just kind of work your way back.
Yeah, no, I mean, that should be again, like a lot of the first steps is like, okay, let's line out exactly what is your process. What is the process flow? Because those are the kind of things that you want to start looking at, for sure. I will say this too, consumer complaints are like delayed. They're very lagging measures. So like, we'll get a consumer complaint like 2 months, about a month and a half to 2 months after we actually produce the product. So it is trying to go back and like recreate, okay, what could have happened during that run.
So most generally, the problem is gone.
The problem is gone, and so you're trying to figure out based off of the complaint what happened.
You're looking at, well, it could have did this.
Mhm.
Okay.
And there's information, and I think the biggest part of problem solving is knowing the right questions to ask. What's the information that I need in order to better narrow this down?
Did the product that was not supposed to be in there come from another one of these lines?
Could have been.
I mean,
Yes, could have been.
I mean, you had that line 5 there. Let's say that's where
Yeah.
stuff you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
Does line 5 only produce that stuff, or does it produce all other? So purging is definitely important.
Yes.
Is there any possible way, like line 3 could open up a little bit and give to line 5?
Yes.
That's a possibility too.
Definitely a possibility.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, those are the great questions to ask. And one of the things, like, so we have records of all the products we were producing at the time. So, like, knowing even what product was mixed in the product. Because you know a product was mixed in the product, which the consumer actually sent us those pictures. But if they hadn't have sent us those pictures, we would have had to, like, gone off of.
Yes.
But then we were able to see a picture and go, oh, I know exactly what this product is. I think it was Frisky's Ocean Fish. So then I could tell, okay, were we running Ocean Fish at the same time? Or did we run Ocean Fish before we ran Pro Plan Performance? So we didn't flush enough, or or if we ran it, if we're running it at the same time, it's somehow mixing in the two systems, and that's where you start to go down that road. So yeah, I mean, what were the products that were mixed? Were they running at the same time? How do we clean the system out? Because there's a lot of places it can hang up, so that's where you go through and try to find throughout the system, could there be a hang up somewhere that we're just not aware of? Was it on multiple lines or just one line? Because that would tell us if it's on one line and all the complaints are coming from one line, then you really can focus down on that one line, because usually we're running products on multiple lines. When I say lines, I mean packing lines. What time? So was it like beginning, middle, end of the run? Because it's the beginning of the run, then you might have a flush issue, you know, if they're all happening at different times of the run. So again, a lot of the questions to ask. So what we did find out, based on all those questions, was we had a slide gate that was not closing all the way on one of the lines. So what it was happening is product from line 3 was allowed to dribble into line 12. So there's limit switches on the slide gate that tell when it's closed, and the limit switch wasn't working, so it looked like it was closed on the system, but it really wasn't. And it was, interestingly enough, it was small kibble products that was falling in there, like it was only cat products, so that gave us another hint that the slide gate wasn't closed all the way. So, root cause, the slide gate was broken. Is this root cause?
Maybe more of the sensor, because if you would have known that the sensor was down, you probably would have known that the gate was broken.
So sensor was probably broken, so we fixed the sensor, and I think the sensor was the, fault, you see the slide gate. So we fixed that, are we done?
Can also be
No.
what could have broken this like it is
Kinda going down the right path.
in the first place.
So what, so you said.
This is where you get into your 5 whys.
Exactly. So, because, and it's funny, because we have a lot of, so we've had we're changing the culture, but we've had mechanics in the past, like we have maintenance techs, that you come in and you say, what happened last night, why did this break down? Well, it broke and I fixed it. Like, that's their mentality, is it broke and I fixed it, and I've done my job. And I always say, thank God you're not an airline mechanic. So you're right, you go down the 5 whys, because you don't want it to happen again. And that's the mentality we've been trying to break, and we had, for years, it was, maintenance was there, and as soon as something broke down, you fixed it, and then you moved on, and that was their job. So yeah, the 5 whys. So why did the slide gate not close all the way? Well, we found out that so we do preventative maintenance, which means they go and inspect things ahead of time before they break down to try to keep them from breaking down. So they'll go and look at component parts on a packing line, and if stuff looks like it's breaking, wearing, they'll replace it so we can try to prevent breakdowns. So the preventative maintenance inspection did not catch the worn out limit switch. Then you go into why did it not catch the worn out limit switch? The tech didn't know how to check for that. Why didn't the tech know how to check for that? Because the PM did not show how to check for it. So we have preventative maintenance task lists, just like standards on everything, and they need to detail out exactly what the technician should be looking at, and it did not show it on there. And to be honest, we had to call in, it wasn't on any of our preventative maintenance. Like, we had to call in the supplier, or the supplier of the slide slide gate so they could help us figure out how to properly check that, because it wasn't something you could see easily. And then we added it to our preventative maintenance program, and so now when we go to check slide gates, that's something they should be checking, and hopefully we prevented it. Like I said, I've used control charts. So like this cat chow fat results, you know, they can tell you different things. Like this sort of looks like we're running okay, and then it looks like so the way our fat gets applied is the product runs across what we call a catron, but it's literally a belt that you weigh. It's a belt that's on a scale. So it weighs the product as the product is going across it. And the product's going across it, it's getting weighed. At the same time, there's what we have a micromotion, which basically is applying fat, and it adjusts the fat it applies based on the weight that's going across the belt. So right here, I think our catron was starting to mess up, so we were kind of getting issues, and then you can see it crashed completely. And then, like this one, we have fat results, would be fine, and another fat result would be fine. Well, it turns out this was like the beginning of each of these runs, and so that tells you, okay, we've got like something going on at the very beginning of the run that is causing us not to be able to apply fat properly, and so it helps to do the problem solving. And then I just threw in some key messages. I don't know if any of this will be relevant or not, but maybe you guys have heard this before. We talk about it a lot with the people we hire. College degrees does not mean more money immediately, but it seems like a lot of people don't. We get some that don't think that, but it makes you way more promotable. Does anybody know guess what the 7 to 8 times versus 2 to 3 times might be?
Pay raise?
That's exactly. So like, I've done a lot of different things. So like the salary that I started at when I started with the company, I make 7 to 8 times that now. Yes, I've been around for a long time. I'm pretty old, but I looked at like, okay, what would that be if I did not have a college degree and was basically worked for my company at, in one of the roles that does not have a college degree. And I probably would have increased my salary 2 to 3 times. So it's a big difference. So it makes you very promotable, or makes you more promotable. This is just something that I wish that I'd known when I got out of school and started working, is I felt like when I was in school, I always knew where I stood, because you're taking tests. So you always have something that tells you how you're doing. You know exactly how you're doing. I felt like when I got out and started working, I had no idea how I was doing, because you don't get feedback on any kind of regular basis, really, unless you ask for it. So, and I mean, you do, you might get like, you might get some feedback, but you don't really all that much. And so I remember just working and just being like, I don't even know whether I'm doing a good job or not at all. So our chief operating officer with the company now, he used to be quality manager. He and I started almost at the same time. He's in St. Louis now, but he always talks about the 3 R's, and it's what gets you, it's the things, the 3 R's are what you need to get promoted. Anybody guess what the 3 R's are?
Relationship?
Relationships, that is one of them, yes.
Responsibility?
Not one of the 3 R's, but yeah, I can see how that, it's not one that I have up here.
Reliability?
Not one that I have up here. So, results. So like, were you thinking results? Yeah. So, whatever you're doing, you want to do it well. So whatever your current job is, the best way to get promoted is to do well in your current job. having good results, having good relationships. So the better relationships you have with your coworkers, with people of influence, the better. And then reputation. It's important to have a good reputation. And you can manage your reputation. A lot of people think you can't, but you really can. So I have, you saw my employees, and I've got a couple lab analysts, and they've been wanting to get promoted to a supervisory level forever. And every time we have a supervisory position open, they apply for it. And like one of them, for instance, great results, does really well at his job, does a great job. But nobody wants to work with him. Nobody likes him. Like, he's difficult. Thinks he's the smartest person in the room. And I can't promote somebody to a supervisory level to manage other people when they don't have a good relationship with other people. And then even then, his reputation isn't good either. Like, he's known people, hey, so-and-so is working as an ingredient specialist, like, oh man, it's that kind of deal. The other thing is just a personal aside, so like reputation. So our corporate office is in St. Louis. That's where all the corporate quality people are. My factory manager's boss works up there. So a lot of, people that have influence on how you're doing at the factory. And we had an issue in one of our outside warehouses that we eventually had to get out of that warehouse because we had so many issues. And I think we were managing it pretty well, but St. Louis doesn't really know what you're doing. They're not here, so they only get what you tell them. And they get rumors, and they get, they'll hear something from somebody else, and then they'll think, are they really handling it properly, and so on and so forth. And so I could tell through that whole experience that quality, St. Louis quality, like my dotted line people that I report to the factory manager, but I also have to report into St. Louis quality. I could tell that anyway, I just felt like it. So I called one of somebody I know up there that I felt like would be a straight shooter, and just said, hey, I feel like my reputation has taken a hit off of this issue that we've had. So be straight with me and tell me, what are people saying about me? And he was like, straight shooter, and he said, it's not that he said, you're just not communicating enough with us. We don't know what's happening, and so people are making negative assumptions about what is happening because you're not telling us what's happening, and so you just need to communicate more. And so I think bottom line is it's just a way to manage your reputation. I don't know if anybody's read Patrick Lencioni, but we read The Ideal Team Player. One of the things that we look for and we like is hungry, humble, smart in an employee. So hungry, somebody who is a go-getter. They, will do whatever it takes. They, for the betterment of the company, but also humble. Do they treat everybody the same? Are they nice to the receptionist when they come in? And all the way up to the CEO, do they treat everybody the same? And then smart is not necessarily intelligent smart, even though we do want that, but it's more like people smart. Is somebody able to relate to other people? Are they able to talk to other people at the level they want to be talked to? That kind of thing. Step out of your comfort zone. So like I went back and did the transportation manager position. I didn't know what I was doing. Learn to have difficult conversations. It's amazing how many people I work with that can't have a simple, difficult conversation. And not even that bad, just like, hey, when you said that in that meeting, what did you really mean by that? Because it felt like you weren't supporting this program, and I need you to support the program. Oh, that's not what I meant at all. Okay, cool. And so many people cannot do that. And then don't be afraid to say, I don't know, but I will find out. And then problem solving is an amazing skill to have. That's all I have. Any questions?
I think there's a reason that you're a quality manager, because this is one of the best presentations that we have had from our speakers.
Really?
Yes.
Because I came in here like, I don't know if this is what they're looking for or not.
This is exactly what we were looking for. Amazing. Yes.
Good, I'm glad.
Especially that you throw out that real life example there, you know, ask the people and all that, and then all these key messages, amazing part.
Good. Yes,
I was gonna say the hungry, humble, smart thing is exactly what we do in my job, so,
really?
yes.
So do tell.
So I got hired at Paycom about a month ago, and the interview was not as intimidating as it seemed, but I kind of went with that through my whole interview, like how I went in and how I'm gonna present myself. I mean, not lying about myself either, but that's like, how am I gonna present this to them without coming off, too much?
Yeah.
And I exactly went in that order of like hungry but humble, but. I
And
know
there's
I-
an art to it.
And it worked, and I didn't even know that was a thing, like, I didn't know that was a book, I didn't know, I just kind of went with that.
That's good. I mean, honestly, it's hard because there's a lot of people that are hungry, but they're not humble, so they'll step all over anybody to get where they need to go. Or you can be too humble, so nicest guy ever, and everybody loves them, but they're not hungry, and they don't, you get frustrated because it's like, come on, I need you to pick up the slack. Or they're not smart in a relationship smart kind of way.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional
Yes.
intelligence is exactly.
So I feel like.
That's great.
If you frame it like, that was just the exact thing that they wanted, and I was like, I didn't realize that how easy it was.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
It's surprising to see that book as a senior leader in the military, and you probably attest this. Once you move up in certain ranks, especially in senior leadership, they require you to go to like leadership courses and classes. For the Navy side, once you make senior or 7, 8, and 9, I was in 8. They make you read certain books, and that was one of the books that you have to read, and you have to brief it as such. And that is the thing in the military, that you have to be those 3 things to ascend in your evaluations to be promoted.
Really? Did you guys read Extreme Ownership?
I've heard of that. I don't think we.
Because it was written by a couple of guys that were, what's the elite?
Delta Force or Navy SEALs?
I think they were SEALs. But, I mean, excellent book. If you like those kind of books.
What was the name of it?
Extreme Ownership. And it links a lot of, like, it actually links the management's message back to the military and the different techniques that are used in the military. I thought it was really good.
Is it written by, what's the guy's name? He makes a lot of TED Talks. He has glasses. I remember his name now. Sink? No.
Honestly, I cannot remember who
It
wrote
sounds
it.
familiar.
Really good book.
Thank you.
Jocko Willink, they are US Navy SEALs. Jocko Willink or Leif Bailey.
I know you've been in your current position since 2018, but is there another position that you like want to go to, or somewhere like else in the company like you want to like promote to?
So it makes it hard, like the company is great, so, yes, if I was willing to move, I would go to probably to corporate office, like I would want to.
To St. Louis?
Yeah, I would want a corporate role, I like having more of an influence over more factories and that kind of role. I like the mentorship kind of role for other QA managers. But I'm not willing to move, and so it kind of keeps you in one spot, or limits you to what's at the factory. Just from personal reasons, I just don't want to move my daughter out of school. that's probably what I would want to do. That, or I'd wanna go back into ME, like, I'd wanna go back into the, more of a problem-solving role, but I do get to solve problems in my current role, so I like that part of it.
Where did you think you were gonna end up with the microbiology degree rather than?
Oh my
here?
gosh, like, if you had asked me when I was, graduating college, and you told me, oh, you know, in a few years, you're gonna live in Oklahoma, and you're gonna be making dog food, I would. So yeah, your future is definitely not what you always think it's gonna be. I don't know, I mean, that's the hard part is like, I liked biology, and so I went to school, and I didn't wanna get a straight biology degree, cause I felt like I wouldn't really do a whole lot with it, but yet I didn't really wanna work in a lab, and that's what it would have been microbiology, but at that age, I didn't know what different roles did, and my parents didn't talk to me about what different roles did, so I was really blindly going into my majors. And so I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I don't wanna do that to her, so I've, tried to be more intentional. There's, aptitude tests, there's one in Dallas, I cannot remember who puts it on. I always wanna say Franklin Covey, but that's not it, it's, but anyway, it's like an 8-hour aptitude test, and they do all kinds, you know, it's what you're naturally good at. And I took her down there